Final Tan, career advisor from the IBF Careers Connect, to share tips on how to be more effective in your job search during these challenging times. As before, please feel free to put any questions you have in the Q&A window, and we will address these live during the session. I'll now hand the time over to Lionel.
Okay, thank you so much, Flo. I hope everybody can hear me, and I hope that everybody had a good lunch. 2 o'clock slot is what we presenter called the killer slot, because many of you will be still enjoying what's left of the lunch, or will be thinking about, what a great time you guys had. And then when the blood goes to the stomach, it's easy to get distracted. So I really had to hopefully be able to capture your attention to share something that is close to my heart, because about 4 or 5 years ago, I was also doing this, which is called doing a job search. Of course, 4 or 5 years ago, it wasn't such a bad time, but we never expected this to happen. And well, so guess what? We have to know how to do job searching in what we call this new normal. Hopefully, more restriction will be removed, and then by 2022, we'll be going towards a better outlook, better future. Okay, so nobody could predict what COVID has done to us. It has really impacted almost every aspect of our life, from eating, social gathering, even doing your sports, almost everything. So it's no surprising that it also affects how we're going to look for new jobs, or whether we want to switch job. The whole job search dynamic has been slightly adjusted, and we need to adapt to it. And so this session, I hope that I'll be able to share something that's useful for you, as for those of you who are now looking for new employment, or those of you who have decided to do a career switch, perhaps, on what is it like to do a job search in the new normal, right? So at the end of the session, I hope that all of us, including myself, will learn about things such as what is it like to prepare before you start your job search? When the actual application, what are the things that we need to keep in mind? What are the skills in today's climate? What must we think about? What are the skills that is needed? What are the skills that's talked about right now? And what kind of personality, what kind of characteristic that the employers are looking for right now? Just little do's and don'ts while doing your job search. I think I will just put in what a typical job search schedule should be like, because like it or not, there's no such thing as unemployment. Because right now, for those of you who are looking for a job, basically your occupation is a job seeker. So being a job seeker is a full-time job. It could be a very lonely job, but it's still a full-time job. And perhaps a job search schedule will be helpful. And last but not least, I will close with some thoughts on what is it really like at this time to look for a job. So a little bit something about us, just in case you do not know. So basically, me and those people that are sitting in the panels are from the IBF Careers Connect. We have been around for less than about 3 years. We started in 2018, so it's about 3 years. So not really a baby, but also not really an adult. In fact, far from being an adult. So what we do is we provide coaching, we provide workshop, and we organize events such as this one that you're attending. And then, of course, we work with various partners to help job seekers that are Singaporean and permanent residents to find placement, to find job, find a new place. So we will organize, well, not as many right now, things like a recruitment or networking drives or events to act as a bridge, so that the employers and the employees can have a medium to meet and get to know each other. And of course, unfortunately, especially right now during this climate, job restructuring of a company happens. And so, there'll be people that will find that they have been retrenched because for whatever reason, the companies need to do a change. So we do conduct with our partners change management workshop to help people adjust to their changes. And so we do have one-to-one coaching to help the people, and also to provide job search skills workshops, such as, not this one, not exactly, but a longer period whereby we help people to do their job search using, the strategy, which is what we are talking about right now, the job search. Now, of course, we have to talk about resume writing, we have to talk about your interviewing skills, and last but not least, your networking skills. But for today's session, we're just concentrating on, what are the things we look out for when you're right now looking for a job. Okay, for anything that you're going to hear this, most important, how do you start well? Preparation. So likewise, you need to prepare yourself before you embark on the job search. And the first thing that you need to think about is the research. You would have heard this in many talks, be it interview talks, be it resume writing talks. Research is very important because that's where you build your foundation, whereby you get to know how to answer, how to attract the attention, so that the hiring manager will find you memorable and impressionable, so that if they want to offer something to someone, it's easier for them to recall you. And so preparation is the key. So what do you research? Right now, I'm afraid we have to go even deeper when it comes to doing research, right? We need to go deeper to look at how companies, right, has been impacted by COVID-19 and the various restriction that's being put on by the government, right? Like work from home, how many social gatherings, you can go out for lunch with your colleagues or some things like that. So these are the things that you need to go deeper. How does the company adjust to such things that is being changed, right? You're gonna look at, besides, the website, go deeper. If it's a public company, for sure you can access their annual report. Now, from the annual report, you can check what is the plan, what's the plan of the company, right? Especially right now, the annual report will definitely tell you, due to COVID, what are the things that they plan to do? What are the, have they changed any strategy? So these are things that you can look out for, because these are the things that you use as building blocks in your job search. And also, when it comes to writing your resume, it extend all the way to every aspect of your job hunt. So dig deeper, go deeper, look for things that is such as insights and trends. So about the industry that you're going to go in, the companies, the roles, how did they adapt and how did they progress? Because this is where you're going to get ideas on how you're going to pitch yourself. Are you going to pitch yourself as the hero that will help solve the problem due to all these things that's happening? Are you going to pitch yourself as someone that will be able to quickly adapt and grow with the company? So these are very good places for you to start thinking, what should I do? How should I pitch myself? How do I want to look like when the hiring manager look at me? How do I represent? For many of you, yes, it's called personal branding. So if you want to ask how do you going to start this, here, do your research, find out more about the target that you want to attract. Understand, as I said before, any new business practice, any new business process, the most important is you can set Google alerts so that whenever this company appears in any news, you'll be the first person, you'll be notified and you can read up, and it will help you to do your research in terms of the preparation stage. The important piece of marketing tool that you have in your job search is the resume. So you need to refresh your resume on a constant basis, right? Because you're doing your research, so you need to input or change anything that you found during your research that's relevant to you. you need to update any key skills or experience that you have acquired that you want to highlight to the hiring manager. Don't make your resume to look like a job description. So what we try to say is you should highlight how at various positions in your resume, you are the difference maker. How do you make a difference? Right? Show those skills that you have, that is required in this new job, that you use it. For example, write things like immediately tell them the result. You improve customer satisfaction score by 20%. But what did you do? You did this by planning, implementing service changes. And then, this is what we meant by not a job description, because you have included the skills that you use. You have even told them how you plan to do such things. So if you do a research and you realize that perhaps customer satisfaction is something that this company lacks, by putting a statement like this in your resume rather than a job description, things like, oh, I liaise with customer or I serve customer. You put a statement like that, immediately you attract the attention of the hiring manager, especially if this is the pain point of the company. And you're telling them, I'm here to solve your pain point. So as we said, if you have listened to the talks earlier on, we're concentrating on how you make a difference. How can you contribute? Those days of saying, oh, I'm a fast learner. I will come and I'll learn very fast and I'll help you. Unfortunately, at this point in time, most companies are in crisis. So they need someone to come in immediately and be able to solve their problem. So you need to adjust your mindset. You need to adjust how you think. So now you're going to think yourself as I'm a contributor, I'm a solution provider, I solve the pain. I'm the painkiller. So make sure that your resume has statements like this, whereby you let the hiring manager know, I am the person that will definitely help you solve your problem. Another part of preparation is you perhaps may decide, relook at your career aim and objectives, because everybody starts off on a different playing field, right? So that you will help you find what is it that you're looking for. Meaning, do you want to switch to another career? Or perhaps you want to go for, remain in the same area, but more responsibility, or not wrong, less responsibility is also there. So you need to plan what is it that you want to do for the future, right? Because by thinking all these things, it will be able to give you answers during the interviews when they ask you things like, oh, where do you see yourself? Or why do you change? You were doing so well in a certain industry. Why do you decide to change? So if you have careful thoughts about the first 2 points, you'll be able to answer the interview questions, right? Maybe you should also consider perhaps to take on contract roles, right? Full-time contract roles. Some of them do compensate well too. Or maybe, as what you heard yesterday, think about maybe remote roles. That means your employers could be from another country, but you're working in Singapore. So these are things that you may want to reevaluate about your career on what is it that you want to do. And of course, upskill. This is the best time for you to upskill. There are many courses that are given with government support that are almost free or very, very lack of a better word, cheap, and yet it's done online. So you don't have to, you can just stay at home and really focus on those skills to get to learn new things. Okay, think about new ways of working, right? Things, is there, maybe perhaps there are things that you do that needed a physical one-to-one kind of interaction. Think of ways that now, because of COVID, you won't be able to do it. So how are things done now? Okay, so how will social distancing, remote work, cleaning, all these things affect this job role? Okay, think about prepare questions of what you want to ask the interviewer when you go for the interview. As we said, please be specific with your questions, right? Always explain why you're asking the question, right? So for example, you may want to ask about things like, how does the company view working from home? So, you can give example, why do you need to work from home? Perhaps you need to care for your children, perhaps things. So you explain to the employer why you're asking these questions, so it doesn't sound as if you are actually searching for 10 best questions to ask your employer. Like you're just looking for questions to ask. But if you explain why you're asking the question, why you need to know the answer, then the employer will realize that you have done your research, that you really care about the role, you really care about the company, and that's why you're asking such questions. So example, you can say, oh, I read about certain thing on where did I read about it, about what is your priority right now. And then, so as my role, how's my role changed? How can I support? How can I achieve them? So you basically, you see, the difference is you want to ask what's the, any new job description or any challenges you face, but you don't ask like that. You phrase it in such a way they know why you need to know. That you should also indirectly tell them that, look, I've done my research. I look at various literature to learn more about you. It shows that I really, really want to work for you guys. I really put in the extra effort to go and research about my role in, as we said earlier, a few slides ago, research about your role, research about the industry, about the company, so that it shows that you have a vested interest. And that will make you more impressive and more memorable than all the other hundreds of applicants that are just searching for 10 best questions to ask, and you just ask it. Imagine 50 people ask the same thing, the hiring manager will be sick and tired. So try to, in everything you will realize, be specific to your situation. That's the key thing, to make yourself more memorable, more impressive, because the competitive advantage is you. Nobody has the same experience as you. Nobody has the same thinking stuff as you. So this is your competitive advantage, and you should use it to the fullest to your advantage. So you will find that because of COVID, sometimes they may quickly want to use, even in normal time, there may be some personality tests, aptitude tests, right? You can try this website. There's a few free ones that you could try, practice on them, right? So that you sort of know what kind of question they're going to ask, and for sure you can sort of guess what kind of person they're looking for. Now, let's be cautious here. We're not asking you to lie. We're just helping you to portray yourself much so that you find yourself a better fit to what the company is looking for, right? So don't lie, don't exaggerate, don't embellish, be who you are. Okay? And of course, before you even type your resume, or before you even decide what jobs to look for, make sure that your social media visibility is there, because that's where they're going to start searching for you, right? You may decide to write some article on the posting so that people can see that you really know what you're talking about. So if perhaps you are a good investment banker, or you're a good relationship manager, write something to show that you know it all. You've been reading about the latest things that's happening, right? Or if not, create a website. There's so many websites, tools that you could create. Create a website to show your past achievement, right? You may put it as a link on your resume, because sometimes, people tell me, oh, I cannot squeeze everything into 2 pages. I cannot squeeze everything into 1 page for my resume. Then create a virtual resume somewhere and put a link there. Tell them, okay, if you want to know more details about me, right? You can go to this to look at it. And they will, because if your resume has been tailor-made and you have excited them, you have showed them all the most important prerequisite that they want, for sure they're going to say, hey, this person is interesting. This person I like. Let me now go check out what other things that he has done or she has done. So these are also a way for you to really shorten and concentrate on what is important on your resume, which is to show that your resume as a marketing tool fit the role or the profile that the company is looking for, right? And you will find that, throughout your job search, phone interview has become more common. So phone interview could be the first screening process. So please don't belittle it. It's really important, right? So if you're gonna do a phone interview, just like a video interview, you gotta find a place that's quiet and that's private, right? If you need to use a handset, please do. As what we mentioned, is better so that you can hear everything and not be distracted and miss out on any important things that the person that's talking to you. And unlike video conference, they cannot read you. So basically, it's just an audio. So be careful, watch your tonation, and have a pace while talking. Don't talk too fast and don't talk too slow. Just your natural self, pace yourself so that they can catch every word. And that's also whereby a headset with a microphone is very helpful. Okay, again, don't dominate the conversation because this is the first, even though it is the first of many rounds. Don't not dominate. Don't be assertive. Be there to let them know that you are interesting, that they should actually call you in for a second round, perhaps a face-to-face interview, if not another video interview, right? And one of the tricks that we learn is, surprisingly, if you stand up while talking on the phone, you appear to sound more confident, right? So stand up and talk. It's like giving a speech or a presentation. So again, a headset will be very, very helpful in circumstances like this. So likewise, if a phone interview is very common, then a video interview is even more. So the same rules apply for a video interview and a face-to-face interview, right? Things such as, of course, in terms of video, make sure that you have all the bandwidth in the house. It's kind of embarrassing if halfway internet drop, gone, right? Or get familiar with the platform that you're going to use, whether is it Zoom, WebEx, or MS Teams, right? Make sure your equipment are in working order. Lightings is very important for a video. Make sure that the light is always in front of you, shining at you, not light at the back of you. Because if the light's at the back of you, you will look like those people that do not want that identity to be seen because you will just show your silhouette of yourself. So it will be all black, so they cannot see you at all. And I think it was discussed earlier on when my colleague was giving a talk on tell me about yourself. And this part he has emphasized, so I don't want to repeat, but you may want to do a virtual background instead. So that just like behind me is not distractive, so that you'll be able to, so that whatever that's behind you, it could be you're sitting in your storeroom or some part of the house where you cannot find a nice clean wall, then you may consider a virtual background. So in just like a face-to-face interview, non-verbal clues are there. Eye contact, maintain eye contact. Okay, so at this point in time, many people may ask, okay, what are the skills that I should think about, that I should consider to invest? Okay, so currently you would want to think of skills that will set you apart. Why? Because on average, 250 applicants for one job. So really, the competition is intense. So you will want to emphasize on those skills that set you apart from all the other people that are interviewing for the same job. So goal setting, right? And how to achieve them, especially now, especially at this time where many companies have to adapt and adjust. So they would like to look for someone who knows how to set goals, right? And everybody knows goals, like SMART goals. Goals should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, things like that. So throughout, when you're preparing to look for job search, think of all this, and then make sure that on your resume, it talks about such things, about how various instances in your career whereby you show goal setting skills and how you have achieved them. Okay? Skills like, even if you say, hey, I'm not a sales role, but if you show that you know how to build a professional network, it will impress the hiring manager because they know that you know where to find help. You know where to find assistance in your work so that you can solve whatever problems that may surface during work. So building a professional network is also one of the skills that is looked highly favorable by hiring manager, especially for sales role, of course. But even if you're doing a support role, it's always good to know. Like, I mean, if you're a tech person, it's always good to know that you have a good tech professional network. So if anything came up, you have be able to find the correct person to help, correct person to assist you. Okay. Another thing that hiring managers are looking out for is people that can demonstrate that they can deal with changes, right? So for those of you who unfortunately get retrenched, actually this is your Achilles. This is good. This is the point whereby you could show that you could deal with changes like this, that you could recover from setback. You can bounce back. You can go forward despite all the negative things that happen. Because we do not know what's going to happen. I mean, the vaccine seems to work, but you never know when the next pandemic was going to come. So whatever this pandemic teaches us is, every company wants to hope that they can find people that can deal with changes, can deal with crises that crop up. So this is the best time for you to, go down memory lane and think throughout your career, how is there any things that you could highlight on your resume to let the hiring manager know that throughout the journey, in good times then and bad times now, you have the ability to deal with changes. Especially now, you need to let them know, that people that knows how to take care of themselves, take care of their wellness. Mental health, mental wellness is suddenly in the forefront. It's always not there. But now, because of this, where people goes into depression and things like that, it has become more up to the surface. So it will be good, if during the interview, you have prepared stories to talk about, how you take care of yourself, how you prepare your mind. Things like this are things that the companies are looking for, because for the simple fact that they want someone who is calm, collect, perhaps someone who knows what to do when something unexpected happen, crisis happen, able to take care of themselves. If it's a very stressful situation, a depressing situation, this person knows how to recover. This person has the resilient to hang on, to go for it. So to be able to take care of yourself is one way to show that you are a very resilient person, that you can take it. Whatever happens, you eat stress for breakfast. Very closely related is you will want someone to knows empathy, right? To be able to know how someone feels. To be not a robot, but at least to be to have the human side of things. On those that we mentioned earlier are more we call soft side of things, and then the hard side of things is perhaps some of you are wondering, should I take up some tech skills to complement me, to augment me, right? So currently, if you have attended talks earlier, people are looking for basic to advanced programming skills, right? If you can, there are a lot of courses that is going on, whereby you could sign on to learn basic Python programming. You can also, sign out SQL. Machine learning is also coming out very important, and automation. Things like Selenium, which is actually it's an application to help your browser to be automized. So these are the things that you don't really need to be a subject matter expert, but it will be good if you could show that you do have these skills. Okay, how to use data analysis to make decision, right? So the hard facts, right? Gut feel, yes, sometimes certain decision needs gut feel, but at this time of uncertainty, numbers don't lie. Numbers tells you what it is. So if you can translate these numbers, right, present the data in a visual form so that people can understand, these are things that you may want to invest some time in if you have the time to help yourself. Okay. Now, besides skills, the other part is the makeup of a person. So what we're talking about is perhaps your value, your personalities. These are the things that also that the employers are wanting to see. So very related to dealing with changes is the ability to be flexible and be adaptable. Be creative, be innovative, able to solve things in a different way. So because changes has come. So, perhaps in the past, you can call a meeting with all the various department head and come together in a room, trash things out and things like that. But maybe now, because of working from home or staggered work, you may not get the necessary people. So how is it now? Are you going to think of ways to solve a problem, right? So as we say, everything is linked. It may relate to your professional network that you have. Right? So these people may be able to give you some advice on problems that you find at work. Okay? As we mentioned earlier on, people that are independent, people that are resilient. Why? Because right now it's so difficult to say, oh, let's go for coffee and let's brainstorm, let's think. Sometimes you can't do it, right? So you need to they want to know that, can you work on your own? Can you deliver the goods if you have no access, right, to certain information or certain people? Can you be independent? Can you be resilient to do the job? Communication, persuasion, all the more important. How good is your communication? From rank and file to C-suite people. Are you able to persuade using different style of communication to persuade people to buy into your ideas or to seek help? Things like this. They're looking for people that are very, very good in communication. Related to empathy, people that have emotional intelligence, right? People to understand what's going on now, try to be able to get along with people. Basically, that's what they're saying. Get along with different types of people, because you never know who you are going to be working with, especially if you're going to change into a different industry. So do you have the EQ or the emotional intelligence to do it? Do you have the leadership? Leadership is also another thing that they hope they're looking for. And critical thinkers. Critical thinkers is the ability to know facts and fake news. Are you well grounded enough to think for yourself critically, such that you know this is sound advice, this is sound data, and this is not fake news. This is not out of the, out of the banana farm or whatever. That you'll be able to think critically to make the decision, and to live with the decision. For those of you that are doing project management, yeah, the Agile, the Scrum, as I said earlier on, the ability to work well with people. Like harmony is very important during a crisis. They cannot have people backbiting each other, backstabbing. So are you able to work well with others? Give examples of this. So all these changes as we go through the economy cycle. Currently, these are what the employers are looking for. And so these are the things that should appear, in your resume, in the first page, the most important. It should appear if you want to answer a question like, tell me about yourself, how do you describe yourself? Because these are the things that they're now looking for, so that they know that you could fit into the profile that they want. So make sure that you really have this, then you talk about it, right? So again, don't lie, don't exaggerate what you don't have. Because integrity, which is not mentioned here, is something that all hiring managers, all companies look for. So, what are the do's and don'ts while doing your job search? What are the things that you should take note? What are things such that you don't make a boo-boo or make a mistake and let the hiring manager discount you for whatever reasons? All right. So number one, to be patient, because currently the time frame from your application to you landing a role, the number of days has increased. Because during this period, many companies are doing a lot of other things to adjust. And unless the role is really, really urgent and they really, really need, they're going to take their time in terms of the hiring process. So don't be disheartened. Don't be discouraged if you feel that, hey, it's taking too long. Did they forget about me? Maybe they didn't forget about you. It's just that the hiring process is longer now. So be patient. Don't put yourself down, and keep moving. Keep looking. Keep looking. Okay. Don't keep your cover letter the same, because cover letter, many people think it's just something to let them know, hi, I'm interested in this position. I saw this role in this advertisement. That's why I want to hire for this role. Right? Make it exciting, right? The cover letter is your opportunity to tell things about yourself that you usually don't put on your resume, right? So this is the place whereby you could exhibit those characteristic, those personality traits that you want the hiring manager to know about. So this is the place for you to express yourself. Not that you're going to write a long composition. Usual rules still apply. Nothing more than 2/3 of the page. Keep it short, keep it sweet, but make it important in the sense that make it your own. Make it like you're trying to introduce yourself, that to tell them, hey, can you please take a closer look at me? I have these skill sets or this knowledge or this experience that you're looking for. Take a closer look at my resume and perhaps give me a chance by giving me an interview so that I can, really convince you that I am the person for the role. So make sure you not only tailor, fit or customize your resume, you also need to do that on your cover letter. Please follow every leads that's given to you, right? So if people say, oh, maybe you should contact this person, he may help you, do contact this person, right? Because even if you feel that they may not help you, you never know, right? So if you have given any leads, please follow up on those leads. And if you do get rejections, right, also follow up, right? Because you never know, right? Maybe when the job is offered to this person A, but at the end this person A reject, and you are the person B, the next person that they may offer you, right? So even if you get rejected, be courteous, be professional, follow it up, and say, if that you're still willing and still wanting to work for the company, so that you make yourself memorable, make yourself visible. So the hiring manager will say, hey, maybe I have another similar role, not the same, but hey, maybe this, you could take up this role. So they may introduce you to roles that is not currently published, right? So at this time, normal time already, don't get distracted. Be focused and be attention to detail, right? Really, even today, we as coaches still see mistakes on resume, okay? We still see it. We still see people misspell things, or the pagination is not correct, or little things like this. These things speaks volumes, okay? So be focused, be attentive to the details. Make sure that, for starter, no spelling mistake. Especially if you know the name of the hiring manager and you want to, write the name there, make sure that the spelling, don't assume that, because normal people spell the name this way, it should be that way. Make sure that you don't make mistakes like that. Okay, so be attentive to detail, because sometimes you find that you were not shortlisted because of a simple mistake like that. Okay, always ask questions, right? So some of you who may be going to booth to have what we call an informational interview with the various hiring manager, perhaps, or the line manager, right? So always remember that you need to ask questions, right? Because it shows that you put a lot of thought into this, right? Again, and I mentioned earlier on, make sure that your question has a context. There must be a reason why you're asking this question, right? Many of times when I discuss with the job seekers, when I ask them, okay, what are the questions you're going to ask the interviewer? Oh, they will spill out all the questions. Then when I ask them, what is it really you want to ask this question? What is it really you need to know? They couldn't tell me, right? So you must be able to know, okay, why am I asking this question? Why do I need to know this answer? And then you phrase your question with this thing to let them know why you need to know. Then it really speaks volume, because it really changed the thing about how they think about you. Because then they realize that you really do serious about things. You do keep things in perspective, and you are actually a thinker and not very impulsive, because whatever that you're going to do is a well thought plan. So they can trust you, right? They can trust you with more responsibility, because or more accountability. So always ask questions, but don't just ask for the sake. Of course, we always say, oh, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Well, there is, okay? So ask questions, make sure that you include why. Why is it you're asking this question? Why do you need to know the answer? Why is it important that you know the answer? So that the hiring manager, when they answer your question, they will make sure that this answer is also well thought of, right? Not just something that just to pacify you. Oh, you want to know this? Okay, I just tell you this, right? But you would let them know, hey, this is very important to me. I need to know this for whatever reasons. Then the hiring manager will give you the courtesy and really think before they also ask you the question, answer your questions. So in this way, you have built yourself, to know more about the role perhaps, or know more about the company, or know more about the industry, so that if you were to go for other job application, you have this inside knowledge of what's working on. And that helps you, again, as we talk about, to build your foundation, to build your brand, to be a person that knows things that other candidate may not know. Okay? Unfortunately, looking for a job it's a full-time job, but sometimes it can get very depressing. It can also get very lonely. As I said, I know because 4 or 5 years ago, I was so-called in a similar position. Okay, so do seek help. Okay, do seek help if you find that, hey, I'm getting nowhere. You know, I sent 500 resume, I only got 3 interview. You know, things like, okay, you can either seek help with a career advisor, a career coach, whereby they can look at everything in a neutral perspective to find out, you know, what is your job search plan, your job search strategy that perhaps needs some refinement, perhaps needs some adjustment, right? So that you may present yourself in a different light among the hiring manager so that you get more hits in terms of your resume. So do seek help, right? Don't be ashamed, because not everybody is an expert. Not everybody is a born resume writer. Not everybody is a born interviewer or interviewee, right? So do seek help, and seek help also besides job search help. You know, if you feel emotionally you need support and things like that, do seek help, all right? Because it's nothing worse than losing your mind or losing your confidence, right? At this point in time while you are looking for a job. So do seek help. Okay? And of course, don't limit yourself, right? Don't tell yourself, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Okay, maybe it's true. For certain jobs, you really need that cert perhaps, or need that certification. So let's not talk about all those, right? So if you have the proper cert and things like this, don't limit yourself, right? Don't, even if you hear things like, you know, you don't have the proper job experience, you don't have the bank experience, you don't have this, then find out how you can fill this gap, right? Take up a course perhaps, take up part-time, or even work for non-profit organization so that you can get that proper skills or the proper experience that people say you lack. So there's always a way if you want to get away. So don't limit yourself. So if you have an ambition, don't limit yourself. You can achieve it. You know, it's a matter of working hard, trying hard, and taking that relevant actions so that you can reach that potential. So at this point in time, I know it's tough. Some of you may be looking for 3, 6 months or even a few years. Hanging there. If you need help, go look for a career advisor, right? They may pinpoint you, they may decide to let you know, hey, what is it that you're doing that, you know, that is shortchanging you? Or maybe you're shooting yourself in the foot every time you go for interview, perhaps in the way you answer, or perhaps in the way you project yourself. So if you do need help, right, you know, later on at the end of presentation, there's an email address. You can write in and request that you want to see a career advisor. And I'm sure you can either see myself or my excellent teammates that will definitely try to help you move closer to your next role. Okay, as we said, all those things that we talk about, you're going to tell me, oh, I don't have the time, I do not know how to do it. So you could try this schedule, right? Early in the morning, again, reevaluate your goals. If you didn't change, that's fine, right? Nobody changed, like every day you change a different one. So evaluate things. Okay, what can I do? Am I doing anything that's right? What I'm doing right? What am I need to improve upon? So spend an hour to brainstorm your goal. You can do it alone, or you can do it with people. You know, I heard of people that are job seekers that, you know, get to know each other on networking groups, and they have brainstorming session together, you know, to help each other, spur each other, motivate each other, encourage each other. Because as we said earlier on, job search is a pretty lonely role. If you can find partners, fellow job seekers, is a really added advantage, right? So we talk about updating your resume. You can perhaps do it at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? As we said, quantify your impact, meaning let them have a number there. People like to see number, right? So, if you're in a sales role, make sure that you tell them how much money you're making, how much money you make for the company, what is the net worth of your clients, perhaps. If you are not in the sales role, in the support role, for sure there are things that you do that has a KPI. So talk about those, right? I improve the workflows by 10%. I help reduce costs by X amount of dollars. There is some ways for sure for you to put some numbers. But if you really, really cannot put some numbers, then qualify your answer, right? My team is always the team that people look for. It's a qualifier, right? I never make such mistakes again. It's a qualifier also, right? So either you give a quantifiable impact is the best. If not, for every action, please have a result, be it a quantifiable result or a qualifier. So make sure that it's on your resume as you update it, right? Especially in the early part of resume, because we all know a hiring manager spend less than 7 seconds screening, looking at your resume, okay? So networking is very important. So if you have an opportunity to have lunch with certain people that has leads, okay, this is time for you to prepare. You need to prepare because, in a way that it's not rehearsed, but you at least need to know, okay, what is the thing that I need to know, right? So when you're doing lunch, you may ask the appropriate question, ask a relevant question. Okay, remember, this is a networking lunch. This is not an interview lunch. So please don't go there thinking that he's going to offer me a job. Okay, no, it's just a lunch to have a conversation. So think of it that way. So how do you have a conversation? In fact, my colleague earlier shared, when they had this meetup, they didn't even talk about work. They talk about everything else because it's a networking lunch. So you may have prepared certain things that you would like to address, but be able to adapt, be flexible as the conversation goes. If you cannot hit all 10 points, try to hit maybe 5 points, 6 points, so that you can leave a good memory, so that they may not need you now, they may need you maybe 2 months down the road. So prepare, right? Then go for your lunch. Remember we talk about updating your social impact and things like that. Okay, so this is the time perhaps you may choose, right? Rule of thumb, about an hour. You need to do these things. If you don't have an hour straight to do it, then do it in 15 minutes breaks perhaps. So in the morning, 15 minutes, in the afternoon, 15 minutes, in the evening, half an hour. So you need to, update things like write an article perhaps, follow, like, things like this, to make sure that if at any point in time someone decides to search for you online, they have the most updated version of you. Okay? In the afternoon, prepare and practice all your interview. Practice answering those important questions, like tell me about yourself, because that carries at least 49, if not 49% of the mark, because that's where they decide whether I like you or not. So preparing and practice interview is important. And again, let us stress that, yes, you need to practice, but practice that you don't sound so robotic, practice that is still a way of a speech. It's still of you telling a story. Okay? Create a target list of companies and job roles, right? Think of, okay, this is the part whereby you decide, what is my next move for tomorrow, right? Because remember, tomorrow you have a brainstorm your goal. So this is where you do your preparation work. You say, okay, these are which are the companies I would like to work for, what are the roles they are applying, and things like that. Okay? Research about the companies, the peoples, and the roles, right? Send follow-up emails if you have any emails. Okay? 6 o'clock, shut everything off, just rest. If you have, just think about the day's event so that when tomorrow comes, when you start this process again, you already know what is it, the steps that you need to take. Okay, this will be my last slides because I look at the clock. I know I'm running out of time. Okay, so research, right? Research. If you want to be confident, do your research. If you want to know what to talk about, do your research. If you want to know what question to ask, do your research. So research, very important. Okay, resume. Think of a resume as I said again, a marketing tool. All right, on your resume should not be all the job description, because the job description is already given to you at the job post. Right. So if you're just going to copy and paste it onto your resume, it's not going to impress the hiring manager, right? Because the hiring manager at this point in time are looking for people that not only know how to do, but what are the results? So concentrate on, did I make a difference? Did I make any quantifiable results? Make sure that it's on your resume. This is the part where you try to impress them so that they will ask you for an interview, right? So during the interview, answer by giving context, answer by giving what kind of action you take, and include the skills that you use or the experience that you use or the knowledge that you use. And then most important is, what is the result? So show a story, tell a story, because people remember stories. You keep hearing this to no end, because people do remember. Just ask yourself, how come you can remember the story about Cinderella or story about Snow White? Because they are stories, because somehow it got into your brain, into your long-term memory. So it's the same thing. If you want them to recall who you are during the interview, tell them a good story, right? Last but not least, most of the networking roles are most of the jobs are through networking, are not through jobs that are posted, because 70% of the jobs are not even posted. Okay, they seek the person through internal means, right? Even if they give the role to the, let's say, a recruitment agency, the recruitment agency also look at their own pool of people before they decide to advertise. By the time they advertise, it means that they cannot find anybody already, right? So most of the role, 80%, 70%, is not advertised. So networking is important, all right? So as I said, I hope the question that you posed in the Q&A has been answered, because I know that at the back of me is a good team of people supporting me, answering your questions. If you do need help, as I said, write to this email address, say that you have attended the talks or the IBF events and you want to see a career advisor, and then we'll get back to you within 3 days and to tell you when you can see a career advisor.
Thank you so much, Lionel.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for that insightful sharing session. I'm afraid we have to end the session now, as our next session speaker are waiting for the room. So our next session will be with Ascor, a new fintech outfit. So we'll see you back here in a little while. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have more questions, do visit the IBF Careers Connect booth in the hiring zone. See you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.